Hey guys, Humble back again. Can't believe I have already been using the Galaxy S23 for 49 days, and welcome to my 7 weeks review with this phone. Overall, it is a super powerful phone with premium specs, has a great battery for a compact phone, a decent camera, but it does have its flaws. I can go into that a little bit later. It is one of the best compact Android phones you can buy today at a pretty decent price. $800 is still on the higher side in terms of affordability, but at least it's not in the $1,000 range. And with the Galaxy S23, it is really easy to hold with one hand. When you're done with it, you can just slip it in your pocket, take it in and out. It is pretty lightweight as well. You don't have to worry about dropping the phone. I personally don't use a case, and I never feel like I have any trouble handling it compared to some of the larger phones like the Galaxy S23 Ultra. And this year you're getting the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 all around the world, so strong performance regardless of where you live. For the last 10 years or so, Samsung have always given the Snapdragon chip to the US and a few selected countries, while I believe in the UK and other places around the world they have always gotten the inferior Exynos chip. But this time around everyone get the same efficient fast processor, and you do see a pretty big difference just in terms of battery life. And comparing it to the S22 last year, it is a pretty significant upgrade in terms of battery alone. With the S22 I was getting anywhere from 8 to 9 hours of battery life. And battery life is pretty subjective depending on how much or little you use your phone. But under normal usage, and even normal usage can vary depending on the type of person you are and your mileage. But with the S23, I get about 12 to 13 hours on average. And this is including overall battery life. I know people are always asking about screen on time. And screen on time really varies as well depending on how you use your phone. If you are sitting on your phone for 6 to 8 hours a day watching YouTube, you can make it work. But then in reality, that's how long your phone's really gonna last if your screen is just always on the whole time. And if you're getting 6 to 8 hours of screen on time, then you're probably getting 9 hours max of battery life on this phone since it's constantly running. So that's how you use your phone, that's what you're gonna be expecting. But if you use your phone normally, you go to work, take it in and out of your pocket, check your text, watch some YouTube, do a little bit of Snapchat. That's what I personally consider normal usage. You can get about 13 hours of overall battery life. And that typically results in 3 to 4 hours of screen on time for me. I know some people may think that is a low number, but I personally think it's just a more accurate reflection of how my normal day is. I work from home, so I spend 8 hours a day working. When I have time during lunch or during my break, I'll use my phone here and there. But if I'm working all day, I'm not going to be on my screen all day. So 3 to 4 hours is pretty average and reasonable for screen on time. And even during the weekends, if I have time, like some days I do more gaming, some days I do less. So overall, it is a good battery, and just in general, the standby time has improved significantly as well. I remember when I was using Galaxy S22 last year, even when I rarely touch it, by 2 to 3 p.m. in the afternoon, it is usually dead. But with the S23, I start work at 9 a.m., I finish at 5, and battery will last me till maybe 8 or 9 p.m. So basically right before bed. And it does support 25 watt fast charging, so you can charge your phone up to 50% in about 30 minutes. If you do need that extra boost, that will last you throughout the day. But there are days where I rarely ever touch my phone at all, and in that day, it can really do last a full day battery life. So just be aware of all the circumstances when people talk about full day battery life, 2 days battery life, 8 hours screen on time. Just think of all the components of that and what it really means and how it impacts one another. Because you can't really have it all at the same time. You cannot have a full day battery life, 8 hours of screen on time, and all that. You have to pick one or the other. If you use your phone a lot, you're gonna have less battery life. If you rarely ever use your phone, it's gonna last longer. It sounds simple, but people do get confused pretty easily, and you just have to learn to manage your expectation. At the end of the day, you're getting a super compact phone with a powerful chip. So just keep all that in mind when you are selecting Galaxy S23. And if I haven't mentioned it before, you're getting the latest Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, which is the best that Android has to offer in the first half of 2023. And OnePlus have this chip as well amongst many other Android phones, but apparently this one is slightly tweaked for the Galaxy phone, so maybe you do see a smidge better performance, but it's not life-changing by any means. but there is a slight edge there with the Samsung Snapdragon compared to the Snapdragon on other high-end Android phones. And this phone is water resistant, IP68 rating, but I noticed with every single Galaxy phone ever since the whole Note 7 battery exploding incident, Samsung has been super cautious with how they handle their battery and the charging port. So I try to not to use this phone around the pool or water. I try not to submerge it in water or anything like that. It's been fine for the first 48 days or so with this phone, but in one of my recent days, I wasn't even dipping it in water or anything like that. I just had the phone near the sink and I'm just brushing my teeth, washing my face. I think the water was splashing and it might have gotten into the port. And then for some reason, it just got stuck there for forever. And then if there's water in the port, the phone would not even charge at all. So just be aware of that if you are using your phone at nighttime. And just the fact that the Samsung detect any moistures or any dust or debris in the port, it just would not charge. You can try to blow it or clean it or something like that, but Samsung is just extra careful there. Something to think about at night if you are using a phone and you need to charge it. It is a problem that did happen to me a few times. And for me, luckily I have a wireless charger that stands up. So I just place it there all night. And even when I woke up in the morning, 8 hours later, I still got the same error message saying there's moisture in the phone. So once again, wireless charging will still work. So make sure you have that as a backup if you do have one of these Galaxy phones. Because you never want to be stuck in a situation where you only have a wired cable charging and Samsung's not letting you charge it due to the fact that there is water in the phone. And when I was using this phone on vacation, I was utilizing Android Auto a lot while I was driving. For some reason, even when I'm driving sometime, I have to disconnect the cable, connect it back in. And every now and then when I disconnect the Android Auto cable, it gives me the same error message saying there's moisture or foreign object detected inside the charging port. I'm not really sure why. Who knows, maybe the cable might be dirty, there might be some dust, but either way, Samsung is just extra sensitive and cautious about it. During my trip, it did not really impact me. It's just a matter of unplugging and replugging the cable back in. I guess you can blow on the cable a little bit just to clean it up. But did notice that was something that was happening to me over the last few weeks or so. So just be aware of that in terms of water, dust, debris getting in your charging port. Because you will get error messages and it will not let you charge your phone unless you have a wireless charger. And eventually, that one day where I was talking about where I got water in my phone while I was washing my face, it took at least 9 to 10 hours or so. Even sitting on the wireless charger all night and on to the next day, the error message eventually went away. But it does take some time depending on what's stuck in there, and Samsung will determine when it is okay for you to charge your phone again. But overall, it is an excellent phone. You are getting a bright 1080p display, 120Hz refresh rate. At this price range, you're getting all the high-end spec that you would expect. You're getting 8 gigs of RAMs, 128 gigabytes of storage. If you pre-order the phone, Samsung might have given you the 256 gigabyte model, which is the one I have. I went for this pink looking color, which I do enjoy, but the other options are nice as well. Gaming is fine with this phone. You're never going to see any lag or stutter these days. All these chips are super efficient. Connectivity is okay as well. I have a 500 gigabyte internet plan, and in general I believe I get 400 something on Wi-Fi, and on 5G I get about 300 megabytes. So that's pretty much what I'm expecting. When I'm traveling around, I never have any issues or signals or anything like that, so you should be fine there with the S23. And compared to other phones in this similar price range, just going back to the battery life again, I was using the OnePlus 11, even though that phone does have 80 watt fast charging. The battery tends to last about 11 hours in general, so just okay battery life for the OnePlus 11. The Pixel 7 will last me anywhere from 10 to 12 hours. But once again, the S23 usually lasts me 12 to 13 hours. And this is 3 hours more than the Galaxy S22 from last year. And with cameras, you're getting a pretty decent camera. Samsung have always had great cameras in the past, so taking photos and videos of objects farther away is fine. But this year, for whatever reason, they put a bigger lens into the S23 and it did not work out well. So when you're taking close-up photos, you will notice that pictures are blurry, and you can read this on all the Reddit threads. It is a hardware problem, so I don't think Samsung is going to be able to fix it, so just be aware of that. You do like to take a lot of macro photos, you're going to be expecting to see some blurry photos around the edges. And even take a picture of text like receipt. Just be careful when you're doing that. Make sure you look at the photos, that all the information is captured, because it is going to be blurry. I'm not sure why this is happening or how Samsung let this happen, so it is slightly disappointing and totally unacceptable. But either way, just be aware of that when you're taking close-up photos, and if you're using the Galaxy S23, even though it's a fun phone to use, it's powerful, it's compact, has a great battery life, but there are some flaws such as close-up photos there. And you can pretty much see it anywhere on Reddit with the banana gate photo issues. Fortunately, there's no way around that, so my recommendation is to try to take photos far away. I know it requires you to change the way you take your pictures, but I really don't have any other options. Otherwise, you may need to consider the S23 Ultra and use the macro mode instead, since this phone doesn't have a macro camera. But if you don't take a lot of photos, especially close-up photos, then I think you will be fine. But that is something that a lot of people do complain about, and it's something that I do experience a lot on a day-to-day basis, and I did want to point out to you guys. But overall, leaving that flaw aside, it is still a perfectly good phone if you're looking for something compact, great performance, and decent battery life. It is not perfect, it has its flaws, but you're willing to live with those flaws, it will be a solid choice. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Please check out my last video on the A series if you haven't already. I know people always love the S series and talk about that, but the A series is Samsung's best-selling phones, even though it is much cheaper and does not get a lot of press. People do prefer it more due to the fact that it is more cost effective. But thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and see you guys in the next video.